Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today is for those of you that don't know, I do branding. I'm a creative, designer, but I also I like spiritual stuff, and that's been really important in my life. And so what I do is I work with archetypes to help build brands for my clients. And I also work with archetypes to help my clients gain clarity on more like deep of the deeper parts in themselves. So basically, archetypes are like these patterns, and like basically like patterns that kind of repeat throughout history and time. They were discovered by the psychiatrist Carl Jung. And so what he found is that there's patterns that repeat throughout history and time that live in the unconscious mind of the collective. And so by looking at these patterns, he was able to kind of like see, how our psyches work as a collective and how we can connect with other people from that level. And so for me, I came into the territory of archetypes a few years ago when I was going through my spiritual journey. Um, I actually am an ordained minister, and I know some of you don't know that, but I am an ordained minister. Illegal ordained minister, which means I can marry people and I can have I can do ceremonies, that kind of stuff. But I don't really, I didn't become an ordained minister for that. I became an ordained minister because I wanted to learn more about spiritual stuff. Like I wanted to have real training. I didn't want to be like, some people that read a book and then they call themselves a spiritual coach. I wanted to have like real legit training to help people, know themselves better. And before that, for those of you that don't know, I went through two near death experiences. One of them was in 2010 in a car accident. And after that was when my spiritual path became very strong. And I knew that this was something that I had to focus on. So for the past few years, I've been, working in the creative industry, but also been having like this more spiritual, side to me. And I haven't been as like with my family and some of my friends. I haven't been, how do you say it? I haven't like really shared that with people because people sometimes think you're a weirdo when you talk about spiritual stuff, or if it's not like a religious thing, like they're like, oh, you think they're a weirdo. And I don't really care to have that, be judged that way. So like I I was raised Catholic, and I definitely, value some of the things that I've learned, but I'm not a religious person. Like I believe in God. I do believe in God. I believe in Jesus, the Holy Spirit, but my understanding and my experience with them are very different from the traditional sense. And these are the things that have helped me when I went through those near death experiences that really helped me in my life to get through them. Um, and so it's really weird right now that we're going through like this quarantine and the virus. The second time that I got sick, that I almost died, was I took some medication that I basically was killing my body. And that experience literally felt like I went to hell and back. I don't know how else to explain it, but that's that's the only way I can explain it. And I feel like there's not a lot of people that understand what that feels like. So it's really interesting to be going through this right now, because although we want to be smart about things, you want to, yeah, definitely use science and be smart. I feel like I'm not responding, the same way that a lot of people are responding, where it's more like fear. It's like more fear based. For me, it's, I don't know, like it feels like I'm not like caught up in it, and instead I'm more focused on like creating more balance in my life and not being so caught up in the fear, and just kind of like being smart, but again, not caught up in the fear. And it's, I don't know, it's very weird. Like it's a weird place to be. It's not a bad place to be. I definitely feel that, I'm grateful to be in this place, but I feel like because I did go through those near death experiences, it's helped me to be in this place, where like I know what it feels like to literally hang on to your life. And it wasn't like something that happened like one day or 2 days. Like it happened for months. So So I feel like, like we're going to get through this, and, it's not going to be the most enjoyable for some, but I have faith that we can get through this. So what I wanted to share is with the idea of archetypes, kind of like what I love this kind of work because I can feel and I can see and sense the archetypes that are operating in people sometimes. So, like, if you're, for example, if we're having a conversation, I can hear, "Hey, Lydia, how are you?" Hi. I can actually sense like what archetypes are operating in your unconscious mind. And because I've done a lot of research in this field and I'm still learning, there's so much to learn still. I'm able to kind of sense what's going on and then, give you guidance on what, what's going on underneath the surface of whatever issue you're experiencing. And then it kind of help guide you on how to resolve it. So the interesting thing again is that archetypes can be applied to everything. Literally everything in this world is an expression of archetypes. There's like the soul, the spirit and the soul, and then everything, and then there's the archetypes. And the archetypes are literally how our souls and spirit expresses itself in this world. So the archetypes are the foundation to this world, and then everything comes from that. So you can apply archetypes to literally everything. So if you're trained to kind of notice how they show up in your life, or they show up in the world, you can actually work with these energies that you can't see the energies, but they're there, and you can see them by the only way you can see them is by the way that events happen or the way that you respond to things, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go over, like, for example, because I want to give you guys examples of, how archetypes are operating in our world right now. So I'm going to go over them really quickly. I'm not going to go too much into detail because there's so much information, with this that I could literally do like a whole like day type thing or even longer. But I'm going to go through them because, you're probably wondering like, what the heck are archetypes and what falls into archetypes. So the idea is that there's 12 main archetypes, and then so there's 12 main archetypes, and then there's subcategories that fall under those. So archetypes, like, there's so many archetypes, but there's like 12 main ones, and then everything else kind of like, is like a subcategory of that. So and these archetypes, actually, the thing that's really interesting is that these archetypes actually also operate in our development as we get older. And so when you're born, like when you're born, you have all the archetypes, but certain archetypes show up in our lives to help us in our development as human beings. So like the first archetype is the innocent, which makes sense because when you're born, you're completely innocent, right? And then after that, we go into this orphaning archetype, which basically we go through an experience in our life where we felt orphaned. We didn't feel like we fit in. So we all kind of go through these kind of stages. And then after that, after you experience the orphan, you become the warrior. The warrior is about learning about boundaries. So again, this is something that we do go through in our development as human beings. And then after that, so like warrior is like learning how to stand up for yourself, boundaries. And then after that, we go into the caregiver, and the caregiver is learning how to take care of yourself and also care for others. And then after that, we go into the explorer. So the explorer is around the time where, well, it kind of goes into like childhood, but also kind of like in like the teen years, where you want to explore the world. Like you want to know, like you feel like there's more out there, and you want to explore, and you want to become like almost like bigger than yourself. So you go exploring, you go on adventures, you want to go try all these different things. And we do experience that actually quite a lot during like our teens. A lot of teens are in that stage. And then after that, we go into the destroyer or the rebel. Again, the destroyer, the destroyer and the rebel are the same, but they can be applied differently depending on which one you're talking about. So the destroyer basically is that part in our psyche that will dissolve what's not working anymore, and then you can build something new from that. Again, in the rebel, in the essence of the rebel is like that part of you that doesn't want to like fit in. You want to be different. Like you want to do your own thing. So you're like it's almost like you're dissolving or destroying what's normal, if that makes sense. And then after that, the development goes into their lover. So that's when you know when you have your first love and you experience that, you know, it's like loving yourself but also experiencing what love is. And then there's the creator. The creator is literally you know, you learn how to create your own life. People that are very artistic have a strong creator. Hey Paul, how are you? Yeah, they have a strong creator. And then after that is the ruler. So the ruler is the part of us that has control over ourselves and we know how to rule ourselves. Um, and then after that is the magician. The magician's more about transforming. So transforming yourself, transforming your life. Then we go into the sage, and the sage is the part of us that wants information. It wants to learn. It wants to know truth. Like the sage is about finding your truth. And then there's like the part of the sage that's like this wise. There's like the intellectual sage, which you know it's very common in on this earth. But there's also like the more like the mystical sage, or like the sage, like part of us that wants inner wisdom, that's looking for inner wisdom. And then after that is the fool. And the fool, you know, falls in like the fool, the jester, basically. And that's the part of us that wants to enjoy life. You know, we want to have fun. And then we want, like, it's almost like, and I'll go more into this, but it's the part of us that wants to enjoy life. Um, and the reason that the fool is like the last one is because it cycles back. So once you experience the fool, like you reach the fool, like you go back into the innocent and you kind of like dig deeper and deeper into each archetype. Like each archetype has phases, so you loop back throughout your life. So that when you've gone through all the archetypes, then you start over again, but it's on a deeper level. And then I will say, like the archetypes, themselves are not positive or negative. It's pure energy. It's how you work with them that will either you'll experience the gifts that they have to offer, or you experience the shadow sides of them. Um, Unfortunately, in this planet, we experience quite a bit of the shadow side of the archetypes, and that's kind of what's happening right now. And I'll go more into detail with that, but that's kind of what's happening. And also, unfortunately, a lot of people don't really get to ever get past a specific archetype. Like they'll reach, like, for example, the warrior, and they just stay stuck there. Like some people will not experience like even like the magician or the sage or the fool archetypes in their lives, because even though it's in their psyche, it's like something has blocked them from learning those things. That's why like some people that are not into like the whole like spiritual stuff, like you know their magician is not very strong in them, and you know that's just where they are, you know, and that's just, I don't know, it's just where they are. So let me see, what else do I have on here? Does anybody have questions so far? I don't know. Okay, all right, so I wanted to talk about now like how to apply the archetypes in the world. So the U.S. itself has an archetype, like it has a predominant archetype, and that archetype is the explorer. Okay, so the U.S. has a very strong explorer. And so how did I figure that out, or how did I learn this? Okay, so the foundation of the U.S. basically, the U.S., you know, the people that created the U.S. were not from here. They're not from this continent. You know, they came from Europe, and they were escaping what they were going through. They wanted to escape that. They wanted freedom for whatever, you know, was going on at that time. So they came to the US to find freedom, right? That is a very strong indication of an explorer archetype, because the explorer archetype is always seeking for freedom. They want to be free from the mundane, from, you know, like being stuck, from being trapped. So so that was like, that's like and even like, even if you look at, you know, the Constitution, like it's about freedom, right? So that's how, for me, that's how I find like when I look at the patterns, that's how I find or can sense what archetypes are operating because of the words that are being used. So like the Constitution of Independence, like that is very, very explorer. Um, the thing, and there's nothing wrong with finding freedom, because again, this is something that we all need to develop as beings. But the shadow side of the explorer is that you always keep looking and looking and seeking and seeking and seeking, and you never stop. Like it's literally like you get so lost because you're always seeking. And the gift is that the explorer has to give us is that we need to find what we're looking for out in the world. We need to find that inside ourselves. And unless we do that, we're always going to continue seeking, seeking, seeking. You know, if my life's going to be better when I get this, my life is going to be better when I have that. You know what I mean? So, in that sense, that's not healthy. So, the U.S. also has a strong warrior, and you can see that, because uh, you can see that because everything in society is run with this warrior energy. Like we got to conquer, we've got to win. Like you got to be on top of it. Like especially like corporate environments have a very strong warrior. And now I will go into Trump and basically talking about what like Trump's archetypes are. And I don't know all of them, but these are the ones that I've noticed. Trump has a strong warrior archetype, and he also has a strong destroyer archetype. But his archetypes are operating on the shadow side. Okay, so the destroyer, again, the positive side of the destroyer is that you got the destroyer comes into our lives when things that are not working anymore, like they need to be dissolved. So destroyer comes in to destroy those things, and so you can build something new, right? That's the good part. The shadow part of the destroyer is the when the destroyer is in the shadow, it always wants to keep destroying. It doesn't matter what. Like it's like a tornado that just keeps destroying, and everything that it touches, it destroys. And that's exactly what Trump is doing. And I'm not like I don't want to get into political stuff here, but I'm just literally showing you or sharing with you what insights I've learned. Um, so yeah, so Trump literally is destroying everything, right? Like he's coming in destroying everything that the U.S. is about, basically, in a sense. The other archetype is the warrior. A healthy warrior will have healthy boundaries, will communicate, what their needs are, will be very clear. And a healthy warrior will focus on how to contribute to society to help empower everybody, not just themselves. That's not what is going on with Trump. With Trump, he is operating from the shadow side. The shadow side of the warrior is only thinking about yourself. And notice these are words that he uses, okay? So he uses the word win. Let's win, let's win. Okay, so that is a very common word for the explorer. The other word that he uses, when his campaign started, it was all about, let's build a wall, let's build a wall. One of the things that the warrior does is that it helps us build boundaries, right? But in a healthy way. What Trump has been doing is literally dividing people, not in a healthy way. It's actually been hurting us. So what's happening with Trump? It's almost like I feel like he's honestly like possessed by these energies of these archetypes, where like himself, like his genuine self, is not in control at all. It's literally these energies that are like running the show. And so what's happening is that with the destroyer, if you get caught up in destroying constantly, you end up destroying yourself in the end. Like you will destroy yourself, and that's just what's happening. And it's not just that. Like he's literally, like what's happening. Like he's not a leader, and he's not being mindful of how his actions affect others, basically. So, and I wanted to just share that because I wanted to show you guys kind of how to, how these archetypes are operating in society, because they are. And it's been really interesting for me because I see the energies that are operating with the archetypes, and then I kind of watch them, and then I kind of like, learning about the archetypes, I kind of like sense what's going to happen next, and then it happens, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like, this stuff is real. Like I'm not making this stuff up. It's actually happening in front of our eyes. Now with the whole virus thing with the coronavirus itself as an energy has a destroyer energy. Okay, it does have a very strong destroyer energy, obviously, because it's literally just it's people are dying from this. Okay, people are dying from this, so that's the bad part. However, not I'm not saying that there's anything good in viruses, but the experience of it, the positive part of it, it's almost like it's destroying what no longer works for us anymore, and we're getting to see what actually is not working so that we could replace it with something that is working. So this experience is literally destroying everything that is not working for the planet, that's not working for this country, so that we can start to build something that does work. So that's how the destroyer is operating with this virus. And then the other part, um, with the virus is also like there's a strong fool energy operating. The part of the fool that is like the wise fool, that's really positive, is that the wise fool knows that we don't have control over anything. Like we want to think that we have control over our lives, but we really don't. Like in the bigger picture, we don't. Like there's always things that are going to happen in our lives that we don't have control over. Okay, so and the big cosmic joke of the fool is like we don't have control over anything at all. Like we can plan for for 5 years, 10 years, or whatever, but we don't even know if we're going to be alive tomorrow. Okay, so in that sense, that what the fool is communicating on this with this what's happening right now is to literally enjoy life, like literally slow down, enjoy life, don't take yourself so freaking seriously, and like just bring in like this lighter energy and learn how to connect with each other, learn how to create a life that's more like sustainable and that's a lot more healthier for each other. And if you look at it, that's exactly what's happening right now um with people. Like we're being literally forced to be home. We can't connect with people. Like we have to be basically have been forced to slow down, like literally slow down and really think about what really matters. And that is what the fool does. Like like the deeper part of the fool, like the deeper wise part of the fool. So it's interesting how this president Trump has these archetypes that are like operating on the shadow, yet as a collective, like as a whole collective in even in the US and also in the world, these archetypes are operating, but from a much deeper, like positive place in that sense, in the sense that I just explained. Um, yeah, so what I've been really receiving is that one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of people that are posting like jokes, like they are taking this experience of like, like death and destruction, and they're creating like memes or like jokes about it, and no, not in a bad way. You want to be sensible too. Yeah, but they're creating like jokes about it, and I think that's beautiful. It's like this is literally these are like this is the fool in our psyche, like in our unconscious, that's operating to help us to get through this. And I think that's really awesome. And I think that I feel like we have to work to bring that part of ourselves out. Well, there's this person that's the president and he's destroying and hurting people. Like, let's bring out the goodness in each other so that we can actually help each other to get through this. Because one of the things with the warrior too is that the warrior wants to conquer. Okay, that's one of the things that the basic warrior, it's not, I wouldn't say shadow, because like the warrior goes through phases. So like the first phase is to conquer no matter what. um so but the thing is that you can conquer and only think about yourself, but in the end, you're not here by yourself. We're here all together, and we affect, as a collective, we affect our environments, and we affect what happens in the world, by who we are, like by the beliefs that we have, or like who we think we are, or our actions. So in the end, like we can't do this alone. We've got to work together to get through this. And this is literally the message that is being delivered. When there's like dread and like death, like what can we do, how can we respond to this in a way that will actually help us and that will be more efficient, and we can unite to help each other to get through this together, and not just think about ourselves, like think about me, like, well, what is, I got to take care of myself, because in the end you're not here by yourself, we're here together, and life is more meaningful when we can actually work together as human beings to actually support each other and empower each other. And it's not just like Trump, what can I get? No, like that's not the way that, in reality. And when I say reality, I don't mean this reality. I literally mean like, if this world did not exist, like, that's literally how it is. Like, we are all united, and what you do affects me, and what I do affects you. And how do we know this? So there's times where, for example, like, have you ever experienced like a time where you think about somebody and then they send you a text or call you and say, "Hey, I was just thinking about you." Have you guys experienced that like before? Because I have. And so to me, that is like literally the little thread. There's a little thread that's connected between being and being, that connects us to each other. We can't see it, but it's there. So just understanding that we're all on this together, and we all got to work together to help each other, and not just think about yourself. Think about how you can help somebody else, whether if it's even like, like making a live video, like making something funny to lift up, somebody's spirit up, calling somebody. If you want to volunteer, like get a food bag, you can do that. Just, something that will help somebody else, because the more that we help each other to empower each other, and we lift our spirits up, the more that we're feeding that energy, and that energy will help us in the end. Like, we will create our reality by feeding that positive energy. If we feed the negative stuff, like if we feed the fear, like the divisiveness, like all the stuff that Trump has been talking about and that some people are doing, that's what we're going to create, because together we have a consciousness, and together we guide each other to, whatever that we're focused on. Yeah, so that's kind of what I have to say. I kind of rambled on for a while, but if you guys have any questions, I'd like to know. If you guys have any questions, or I also have, like, I brought my Oracle card deck, so if anybody wants me to pull a card for them, I can do that as well, just for fun. So just let me know. What do you mean by yes, Lydia? Do you want me to pull a card for you? I can do that right now if you like me to. Yes. Okay, so I have two different decks. I have a Mary Magdalene Oracle card deck, and then I have an Angels, Gods, and Goddesses. Which one would you like me to do? All right, I will pull a card for you. Let's see. So I'm just going to ask a general question and see what you need to know right now, or what the message. Oh, yeah, that's the one that I got. That's the one. I'm going to ask what message God Spirit has for you right now. Okay, that's what I'm going to ask. I have too many things on my desk. Sorry, let me just give me 1 sec. Okay, I'm asking her right now. Okay. 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 So you ended up getting the angel of self-worth. You are currently undervaluing yourself. It's time to ring your self-worth. So that's what you got. Or regain, sorry, I said ring. So I'll read what it says on the book for you. Okay. Um, you are currently undervaluing yourself. You are so much more than what you are portraying to the world and those around you. The angel of self-worth is here to reflect onto you all the beauty, love, and light that you are, and help you regain your sense of self-worth. Feel her healing light penetrate your aura this very moment and affirm yourself. I am a being of light and love. I love and value the many wonderful qualities I possess. From this moment forward, I will honor and value myself. And I am all in all I do, in the knowledge that I am part of God's creation. I am worthy of love. Repeat this affirmation several times each day, either out loud or in the silence of your heart. Reflect upon each word and truly believe and own each one. Express express each word with all your heart and soul. As you begin to value yourself, you will find others also start to value you. So what I got is like, is there like, are you going through something right now with your job where like you feel undervalued? Or maybe you're like making um like staying somewhere, but like it's almost like you're undervaluing yourself by staying there. I wish this like literally had like, yeah, because yeah, what I'm getting, Lydia, is that like, okay. Yeah, I'm getting like there's something going on with like your job, with with either you're like undervaluing yourself and staying at a place because of that. Um I think that's kind of what I'm getting actually. It's like you're undervaluing yourself and almost like the awareness that once you start to value yourself, then the environment around you will show up in that way where you'll feel valued because the value comes from inside. So once you set like those boundaries, like those healthy boundaries, and you're very clear about what you want, um, then the outside world will reflect what you're looking for. And so if we're working with archetypes, Lydia, like I would definitely suggest to look more into the warrior archetype because that is a very powerful archetype to help you with us, self-worth and like valuing yourself and setting boundaries, and being more assertive and knowing your worth as a human being because we all have worth in us, like we're all valuable. It's that we're just programmed when we're little to not value ourselves, and that's where that distortion happens. So it's like learning that that's where it comes from, and also healing that and processing that and like reclaiming your self-worth because I know you're awesome. So yay, awesome. Oh, and the other card I forgot to tell you, I did pull another card, and the other card was Goddess of the Shadows. What you perceive to be your dark side holds a hidden treasure, which is really interesting. That I was just talking about, like, um, I was talking about, like, like when we're younger and we I can't talk anymore. When we're younger and we're there's distortions that happen when we're kids based on like the environments that we're raised around, or the beliefs that we carry, and that creates a distortion with our self-worth in many different levels, but in this case for you it's self-worth. And I know, like, at least in my culture, like, that's something that I had to deal with and I'm learning right now too. So I'll share what that card says too. Okay, let me find the book again. Let's see. Goddess of the Shadows, 57. Okay. Release that any perception. Wait. Release. Sorry. Realize that any perception and belief you have about yourself or others is actually a deception more than it is a perception. What you perceive to be your dark side or shadow self holds a hidden treasure. As humans, we rarely see the full picture in any situation because we are forever stuck in the illusion of good and bad. You judge your positive and negative qualities and strive to be more of what you perceive to be positive while attempting to disown or neglect those aspects which you consider to be negative. By holding this belief, you fail to realize that all serves a purpose and that all benefits you in some way. Everything in our world is made up of positive and negative charges, which together make a whole. You have been guided to choose this card by your soul because you are ready to move to the next level of conscious awareness. Over the coming months, you will find yourself questioning many of your long-held beliefs, and you will realize that many of them are simply illusions that only serve to keep you feeling small, inadequate, or restricted. This card heralds that the start of a wondrous and empowering period of your life, which brings to the surface many beautiful experiences and opportunities which in the past you never thought were possible. So that's kind of what I said. So yay! That's so cool. I hope that helped you, Lydia. Like, seriously, look up the warrior archetype. Like, do more research on that if you can, because that's a very powerful archetype to work. And know that that archetype is in your unconscious. You just have to bring it out so that it can guide you on how to navigate those experiences and just be more assertive and, like, like how to value yourself, because you deserve everything that you are looking for. Okay? Yay! Hi, Marilu, how are you? It's been such a long time, Marilu. I haven't seen you in a really long time. Does anybody else want me to pick a card for them? Because I'm probably gonna get off this in a little bit, so I can do like a few more. Oh, I love you too. You too, Lydia. All right, I'm not seeing anybody else that wants me to pick a card. And by the way, this is very strange doing this live thing because I really wish I could just see your faces and we could actually talk. I feel like I'm just blabbing and it feels really weird. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, everybody that watched me and it was part of this live, and then also anybody that is going to watch this later. I hope that this helps you. If you do have any questions, because I know some of the stuff I talked about possibly might be kind of like different. So, but if you have any questions or want to get more clarity, you're welcome to send me a message, and I'll be happy to guide you to the right resources or answer your questions. Yeah, so thank you everybody for watching, and I don't know when I'll do a next live video, but I'm gonna keep practicing because this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I've been kind of anxious about because I don't like to do this kind of stuff. So yeah, thank you so much everybody for watching. Have an awesome day.